Civil servants continue to suffer unprecedented delays in payment of their salaries, or I should say remuneration packages, at a time when the National Treasury Cabinet Secretary, Professor Junguna Ndungu, has actually asked them to tighten their bets for tough times ahead, as the government is cash-strapped with nowhere to get more funds. So how is this likely to unfold for civil servants, and what does this portend for economy? And is President Ruto's administration likely to redeem our economy and perhaps take it a notch higher? This is Business Glide, and that particular subject is what we're going to discuss today with Herman Manyora. But first, allow me to introduce myself. I'm yours truly, Richard Mwenja. Always a pleasure to have you on board on this particular show. That is, of course, is number one on matters public policy in East Africa. Always a pleasure to have you on board. Greetings, sir. Back from Lombei village, finally. How was your Easter weekend?
Wonderful.
Wonderful?
Rains and everything else.
Uh-huh.
And the country is peaceful.
Really?
Very peaceful.
At a time when both, two opposite forces are threatening each other.
That's normal.
Uh-huh.
That's normal. The friction is necessary for movement.
For movement?
Yeah.
And that's
without friction, there can be no movement.
Very well. We're going to see how that will unfold. But there's a likelihood that Maandamano Monday is going to go back. Would you
No, we don't want to hear that.
You don't want?
We want Kenyans to sit down and talk as brothers and sisters.
Very well.
Correct.
Straight into today's conversation. And you are a civil servant, by the way. And if not you, there are others who are feeling the pinch, all thanks to the late disbursement of their salaries. Even others are yet to receive that in devolved governments and from the national government. And if you look at the statement that has been made by the chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors to the president, that's senior economist Devin D., he has attributed the entire situation to the debt servicing obligations, the huge one that the government is under. Would you say that there is probably an open tab for the government to address our debt servicing obligations without literally compromising on the remuneration of our civil servants?
Look here. Mm-hmm. Let's not compromise on people's salaries. I have been paid mine, however little I've been paid. University of Nairobi is one of the few universities that continue to pay our salaries with all the struggles.
Question is timely payment?
Yeah, almost timely. We don't miss. It doesn't go out fast or so, which is not bad. Mm-hmm. It used to be 24. Those days are gone. But we get. Uh-huh. Many universities have this problem of delayed salaries and other public servants. Mm-hmm. Let us not go in the direction of compromising on salaries. No. Let's not even go in the direction of retrenchment. Let us find means and ways of ensuring those who depend on their salaries are paid. Because you distort so much, you will cause untold suffering. Because when I earn my salary, it affects many other people. And when I don't earn, they are negatively affected. I pay somebody who in turn buys something from the kiosk, who in turn pays a debt somewhere, who in turn pays fees for the child. That the 10,000 that comes from my pocket to another person continues multiplying its usage. That's how money works. So by the way, why public servants should have their salaries intact is because in this country, the government is a major employer.
Not even private sector?
Yeah. Now that the government is a major employer of formal employment, supposing government fail to pay salaries, the impact will be awful.
Spillover effects all over the place.
It will be bad. Right in the villages. You send your mother some money. In turn, she pays the person who has supplied milk. That person who has supplied milk takes that money to pay fees in a local primary school.
Or service loans.
Yeah, somebody pay. If you touch public servant salaries, you'll bring the country to a standstill. And therefore, I do not buy this idea that government can get to a point that they are incapable of paying salaries or they delay salaries.
You are talking of
many civil servants, many public servants have bank loans, or one loan or the other. There will be penalties. We cannot allow ourselves to get there. And I don't believe, critical as the situation is, bad as the situation is, I don't think government should have a problem in pay salaries, not yet.
But what then do you make of the pronouncements by the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, who should actually in turn be in a position to inspire confidence among even civil servants, that instead of complaining, as he has done, by justifying that we got the public coffers very empty, he should be making pronouncement on how they're going to redeem them, take them to revitalized grounds, and at least make something out of it. Did you justify that at this point he should be making excuses instead of inspiring confidence?
They should stop excuses. And the government coffers were empty. Where was the money supposed to be? Coming from a deputy president, a little worrying. Yeah? Does government collect money and keep somewhere? Government collects money and spends. They are also collecting and spending. That's how government money works. We are not China, which saved over years.
Excuses shouldn't be the
From independence, we collect and use to pay. There has never been a time in the history of this country when the government collected money and saved somewhere. So what is Gachagua telling the world? Which year was this when the government of Kenya collected money and kept? So that when you take over government, you find money government, huru ameweka mahali. How wanaweka ngapi sasa?
Just some sort of
wao wanaweka ngapi? Si wana collect na kutumia. That's how it's unfortunate. China didn't go that route. It saved for many years. Now we are seeing what they are doing with the savings.
Very well.
We have never made it our priority as a country, even our policy, to save. This country has never had that. Maybe I don't know. I'm not an economist. You tell me. Are there provision in our books for saving?
Not really, not quite.
So then what was the Gachagua expecting to find? Some money is collected and used, just as they are now doing. So you collect yours, use it well. If Uhuru collected and used badly, you collect yours and use well, and pay salaries.
And you'll be in the good pages of history.
And you see, let's not run away from this issue of debts. Our lenders want us to get more debts from them. We should stop, number one. Number two, we should restructure some of these debts. There are no two ways about it. Stop borrowing, restructure what you have. Seek conversion of commercial loans to long-term concessional loans or some different types of loans. If somebody gives you a loan for 10 years, they are beginning to mature. You can tell them we shall still pay. Let us, even we go to the bank.
Expensive.
Let's change. Look at your loans were too expensive. That's why we can't pay. Please, we know we don't have any legal power to do this. But we are collapsing. How will you even get payment from us when we are collapsed? No. So, let's review some of the terms. As mutual friends, we have no you have no legal obligation to listen to us. But it's just fair that as friends, for future coexistence, you gave us so much money. You gave us such a short time to pay. And the interest was so high because they are commercial rates. Can we review the rates so far? Can we prolong the period of payment? And then there are also local loans here. Can we find a way of writing off some of those debts or ledger transfer? I don't know whether you get what I'm saying. We can push things and here on the domestic debts. You know, you owe us here, we owe here, let's cancel this. Can we have special bonds from the citizens? And by the way, I don't believe government. Government is a big liar.
A big liar?
A big liar. Government is a big liar.
Why so?
Even as we borrow. Let me put these glasses here. Then I can look at you.
Senior economist here.
Senior economist.
All right.
Because all of you who have done economy, you are just houseboys. I tell even my colleagues at the university, you are just houseboys. Trained by the World Bank. Just houseboys. To sing their tune. Do you know how much money government institutions save in banks? Then the same government goes to borrow. How much money is NSSF holding? Pension funds. How much money we hold in our accounts as counties, as parastatals universities? Money we have given to other institutions in hundreds of billions. They are just there. Then we are foolishly going to borrow what is ours. Why can't we? Even the citizens of this country, you can arrange a borrowing scheme. But you see, the way capitalism works, the leaders of industry will see you want to deny them. But in developed countries, they go the route we are going, but the interest rates are so low. You know, you get it?
Very well.
So, even if government continues to buy so that business is sustained, there will be no problem if government was borrowing at reasonable rates. But these lenders want to lend government our money, our own money as government. We are borrowing at impossible rates. So in order to teach this banking, these institutions, let's have an arrangement where government borrows its own money. We can even talk about saving schemes. We say, okay, gentlemen, you are a young man. God has blessed you with a good job. You earn 200,000 per month. Is it not possible you can give government 20,000 for the next 10 years from your salary? Save a plan for you to save for 10 years. It's your own money, 10 years. And at the end of the 10th year, other than just the benefit of saving, you will have helped your country. So that you save it from the sharks.
Absolutely.
Loan sharks. Secondly, the money you will get, nobody else can give you the interest of that nature. We can be creative. So I don't sympathize with the government. Let them pay salaries. Let them meet their debt obligations. Let them leave government if they cannot run government. Because the problem this country is facing, those are very small, minor problems. It's just that we are not thinking about the problems. If you think about the problems, there's some minor things. Restructure the loans, renegotiate the loans, stop further borrowing, suspend certain projects. There are some projects which we can't die if we suspend, even cancel. Yeah. If you have a project of, say, 30 billion, if you cancel, assuming it has gotten to the worst point, where if you cancel, it will cost you. If you cancel, you can pay that person $1 billion. You better pay him $1 billion and cancel the project until when this country has recovered enough to do that thing. Most of the projects we are doing,
white elephants?
They are not that important. Look at dams. Which dams are these? Which one has ever worked?
Even stadiums.
Yeah. Why are we making a stadium such a priority that Kenyans should die, go without salaries, so that we may spend 20 million on the stadium or 10 million? Rubbish. All those are conduits for eating and for making foreigners benefit. You get it? Businessmen, international businessmen. But if we cared about ourselves, there is so much legroom to maneuver and play around so that we are just, okay, we'll pay our salaries, we'll meet our debt obligations, we will do so much. Nobody will know we are suffering. But if we continue going through this with our eyes closed, and with the intention of pleasing other people, not us, I've told you, capitalists will tell you, if government looks for alternative sources of borrowing and of revenue, the financial institutions may go down, which is true. But in those countries where that happens, the lenders are not killing their governments, are not killing the borrowers.
Actually, advancing the conversation about borrowing, and more so from our international lenders, what your recommendation seems to be a tall order for the government. Because if you look at even since independence, after we got our independence, we have always been dependent on international lenders. And even now, the government doesn't seem to be committed on coming to a halt, bringing that to a halt. But then again, there are those who believe, much as we are borrowing, the IMF, the World Bank have always had our best interest at heart because they give us guidelines on how we should spend that money. Don't you think the problem is us, after we've been given the money, we don't put it into potential
Yes and no. Yes and no. Yes, because we don't listen to sense. But no, because a predator cannot teach you how to live. They want to eat you. How can they tell you how to live well?
They're helping us with
those are predators. Those are people who have they don't have our interests at heart. They don't.
You saw the guidelines they gave us for post-COVID economic recovery.
No. You mean we cannot find our own? You must eat some boy from China or from Tokyo. You can't think yourself. Some will tell you how to recover.
We have the capacity.
With all these professors in this university, they cannot tell us how to recover. Some boy must come from IMF to tell us how to recover.
Now we have your friend Njuguna Ndung'u at the top.
Yeah, he's there. Why can't he tell us how to recover? Must he go and listen?
Will you actually recommend for him, instead of probably bailing out those state corporations that we consider the pride of the nation, say Kenya Power and Lighting Company, the Kenya Airways, do you think it's high time we look at the potential tab of privatization, just so at least to fix our deficit?
I'm very clear about one thing. I'm very clear that this country will need to generate money. I'm very clear about that. Economists and all other experts, you can say what you want. Me, I'm not educated, but I use my common sense. If we don't generate money in this country and continue relying on miserable taxes, this economy will one day come to a halt. So, if you go with my thinking that government needs to earn money to generate revenue, not taxes. Taxes will continue being there, but they are not sufficient. At the very best, we are hoping 2.2 trillion. Not dollars, Kenya shilling, miserable Kenya shillings. What can a country do with 2 trillion shillings? What? Is there anything? It's not rubbish. That's not money. This country requires 20, 30 trillion shillings to be able to lift us from where we are into this misery, being dirty and poor, people dying from every imaginable disease, preventable diseases, treatable diseases,
tropical diseases.
Children going to dilapidated schools, learning under trees, shameful in the 21st century. You need 20, 30, 50 trillion shillings to get Kenya out of this. So to get this money, we'll have to generate money.
Can the likes of Kenya Power do it? Listen,
I'm going there. This country will have to generate money other than taxes. So if you agree with me and you are on the journey of generating revenue, earning revenue, savings, how can you then sell your prostatos? You begin with those as we look for more creative ideas. But the low-hanging fruits are our prostatos. Those that are classified as economic. They are prostatos that are supposed to generate money. We start there and create jobs for Kenya, for our young people, and generate revenue to develop this country. How can you be driving in the reverse by selling them?
Perennial loss-making ones?
Why? Loss-making is a myth. It's corruption, it's theft. There isn't any of these prostatos that cannot work. If you give anyone like me, and I'm not alone, there are many Manyoras in this country. Give me Kenya Airways. In 5 years, it's making billions of shillings every year.
Is the top leadership blind enough not to see people like you?
But everybody is after eating money. They are not after making any change.
You go to the Pride of Africa KQ to steal?
Pardon? But what have they been doing? They have been stealing. They enter into agreements. You look at the agreement, you just laugh.
Pride of a nation.
Oh, my friend. Even recently, COVID kidogo kutokea, wanakata passenger planes, wanafanya kwe cargo. Ay, bwana, Kenya Airways. But the workers' unions at Kenya Airways have been telling us things until you switch off your TV. What the management is doing. You just listen to the pilots' union, you listen to those other aviation industry unions. Yeah. You just switch off your TV. Raw theft, raw ineptitude, incompetence.
You're talking of impunity.
Leading an organization into loss in billions of shillings. Where even the cleaners, not about someone who has gone to school, even the lowest paid workers there, they know what the management is doing is wrong. So which Kenya Power? Don't talk about Kenya Power. That's another. Don't go there. That's one area when you just switch off the tap, turn off the tap for theft. Electricity will cost 10% of what it's costing now. 10, 20%.
Cost of production definitely going down instantly.
Kengen giving you electricity at 6 shillings or so per unit. Somebody else selling it to you at 50. You really need to be an intelligent person. My friend, where? This country, we are courting disaster. Because now, why I'm saying this? Stealing was okay because it was manageable, it was smaller. But we got into ferocious stealing in billions. It used to be 10% kickback. Now it is billions of shillings. Projects, the schemes, creating overnight billionaires. But while that is happening, The world is changing so fast in two ways. One, the citizens are becoming more informed.
More work.
Yeah, more work. Secondly, the challenges the world is facing are multiplying. Challenges. Look at the cost of living today. Look at the economy, how it's looking across the world. Things are moving from bad to worse. Look at pandemics like Corona. The challenges facing mankind are increasing so badly. You need to serve every coin you have. When you have challenges of climate change affecting food production, you cannot afford to eat the money you have and steal it. You need to have the money to mitigate those challenges of climate change, to ensure food security.
Not just going to summits, global summits.
Yeah, so
huge delegations.
So you see, there's so much contradiction. Those in power ought to know this is not the time to steal. This is the time to look for every penny you can get and put it to the right use and save a bit of it for tomorrow. Because Corona has shown us the world is not a safe place anymore. And only those with the brains and the resources to go into research and other interventions required will survive. So, my friend, this country has enough resources for us to do what we need to do. Pay our loans, pay our salaries.
Pending bills.
Pay all pending bills that are necessary to be paid. But to keep complaining that we found empty coffers.
Dilapidated state.
And you know, I also want to run away from this country. I'm getting there. Because if the government tells me people stole money in a record 26 minutes.
Billions.
And they carried them in sacks, used helicopters from Wilson, took them to people's homes. I am hearing that from government. And they have not arrested one person. Please let me go away. Excuse me, let me go.
If you run away,
let me go away, please.
Then what awaits the youth?
I'm looking for my citizenship for another country. I can't live in this country. Government, the top government, telling me what will liba pesa in 26 minutes, 15 billion. Haraka Wilson Airport kwa magunia, helicopter kwa boma za watu. And those people, they have not arrested one person. You want me to remain in this country? I'm going out. I've decided now. I can't live in this country.
At your age?
I'm going to die from ulcers. Let me die from old age from another country. I'm leaving.
You leave the country to...
I'm leaving. I'm looking for citizenship from another country. I can't live here when my government is telling me people stole billions in minutes, in under 30 minutes. You know, carry the money in sacks.
You have your NHIF, your NSSF. Don't run away.
Carry it in sacks. Helicopter, kwa maboma za landed in somebody's home. Akaweka kwa na wajashika mtu mmoja. And you want me to remain a Kenyan? Me, I'm leaving. You can remain here.
Lack of sufficient evidence is what has come from...
Which, how then you know? How do you know they took it if you have no evidence?
There you have it from the firebrand public scholar himself, Herman Manyora. Of course, pouring out nuggets of wisdom to the National Treasury on how best they can address the current cash crunch from the side of the government, which has actually occasioned the delays in payment of civil servant salaries. We hope the situation doesn't spill over and probably bring on forth further ramifications. But wait to see how the government will respond to that particular situation. Time now for a fan of the week. It is this gentleman who actually got straight into my DM on Twitter, your student, called Byron Austin Oundo from Nakuru.
Oundo.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Byron Oundo.
He says you taught him aspects of language skills at the University of Nairobi.
Yes. School of Economics.
School of Economics.
I remember him.
You remember him?
Good, fine guy. Thank you very much, Brian, for being part of us. Byron, yeah.
All right. You too can be our fan of the week. All you need to do is head over to Twitter, tag the show that you've watched. Of course, tag there Herman Manyora at Manyora on Twitter, at Richard Mwanja on Twitter as well, and slide into my DM, send us your location and your name. Then we get to give you the credits due for being our biggest support system. Until next time on Business Glide, I'm Richard Mwanja. Always a pleasure. Up next on your screen, the Business Glide African proverb of the day.